What up? Hey, we'll get this thing started in a little. Hey, Adam, how are you? I'm gonna move this bike into the stand because I'm gonna work on it probably while we talk. It's funny that we're gonna be talking. I'm gonna work on a GT while we're gonna talk about bike companies that aren't here anymore. So we'll let a few more people get into chat, and we'll go from there. Oh, those things. Sorry, every time I do a live stream, there's new little things that pop up for it to tell me to do. So, yeah, I'm just looking at what it's telling me. So bear with me, guys. Okay, it wants me to set a goal, so I just did that. So I don't know what that means. I mean, I kind of do, but whatever. What up, Web or Weeb Crusader? How's it going? How you doing, bud? I'm gonna get this bike at this other stand, and yeah, just get things going. And I just built up a bunch of Colt 18s and got them out to some people for Christmas, and had some Japanese writer come in here and got a few things. So we're doing a little Google Translate on the phone, and just kind of those days before Christmas when you're working retail. It's not as crazy as it used to be. It's so weird now, but just happy to get some business today. And I got to do a few things on this GT because I'm literally just waiting on like 2 pieces so I can finish this. I think it's a 97 GT Performer. So RIP GT, dude. Yeah, man. Adam, I mean, it did come out of I wasn't ready for it. I mean, we'll wait for some more people to get in here. We'll wait till we get like at least 20 people, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty. But definitely RIP. I mean, I was a GT dude when I was growing up. I mean, Josh White. You give me a Maui blue early GT freestyle bike. I mean, I'll turn into a 12-year-old immediately. So here, I'm gonna throw this in this other stand. This bike sure isn't light. It's definitely got a pretty sick paint job, though. Even for one of the late 90s ones. You know, some people shit on like the late 90s GTs, but if I was younger, I could see why people were into them. The tri-spoke fans, bags though, get that in the picture. I'm not a big fan of the tri-spokes, but it's every generation has their thing. So, I mean, it's almost crazy they're still putting mags on bikes in 97. So, I kind of agree, Ricky. I mean, one thing that sucks is like when you have these legacy brands that a lot of us hold dear, they're not really the brand. I mean, no, this is not geared towards the riders or riders that work for the company, but the people in the higher ups, they just don't have BMX's best interest, for it. So, yeah. So it is always nice to get a refresh. I mean, honestly, and it will come back. GT will come back, but I would prefer it doesn't. I mean, I think a lot of things like Ricky, when you get to those companies, is like they'll go from like a core BMX company where racing, and freestyle are their core things, and then usually after that first sell, there's a company that just wants, they got this grandeur idea of making them a big bike company, and then they really forget where their roots were. It was weird with GT because I felt like they were kind of trending in a positive direction, but um, with the numbers of bikes people overordered during COVID, I mean, I'm amazed we haven't seen a few other companies drop off. Yeah, I mean, I think as far as I know, Crusader, that GT dropped everybody. They're still a company, but I think it's just to move the product they have, and then they're probably gonna reconfigure it. I haven't got to see Brant's video about this. I mean, I'm not trying to do no super research. I just thought it'd be fun. We don't even have to talk about GT. It is kind of funny when you're on YouTube and you see all the YouTube guys. Brant, I like what Brant does, but there's all these other dudes that you're like, I don't even think this dude rides, and they post up crazy clickbait things talking about stuff. I'm sure a lot of the, like I'm sure there's a lot of dudes that are into some of that modern vintage stuff that are going to be super bummed. You know what I am bummed about is we ain't going to be able to get these because I'm a vintage geek. The GT Repop 175 tires, that's going to be a travesty that I can't get those anymore. Yeah, I mean, both those had big peaks. We still have another peak coming. It just, yeah, right now we've been needing a shakeup for a long time, and it just is, everything gets put on life support and the shakeup never comes. Oh, Suelo and Flatware. You know what's funny? Hold on, where's that gonna go? Adam, I have, and if Adam, I'm assuming if you missed those, you ride flat. I have some sample Flatware stickers that my buddy Chris, who builds wheels here, he worked at a screen print place, and they did the sample Flatware stickers for Flatware, and I have a couple rolls of them. So maybe bug me sometime, and maybe if you're into it, I can squeeze off a few of those stickers for you. TS Visuals. I was thinking the same thing, dude. Like those repops are going to start going for more than the OG GT tires. Yo, Ray's in here. But you look like. I mean, yeah. I mean, I hope that's a good look, Ray. I hope it's a good look. They're 50% off now, and dude. Yeah. Oh, it would have been nice to see. I mean, I just think, dude, I love me the 89 Aggressor. My biggest regret is selling my 89 Aggressor. And I'm happy I've held on to my 90 Slammer. I've gotten some crazy offers for it, and I'm just holding on to it. Low Tech was, I mean, I loved Low Tech. I was around the whole thing. So, yeah, Low Tech. We could go on and on about Low Tech. I mean, that time right there at the 2005 to 2012 time, that was a really good time in BMX too. Dude, the Interceptor with the Murray style stays. Yeah, my buddy Eric used to ride a Mach 1 with the Murray style stays, and he'd ride street on it. He loved it. He rode flat and everything on it. Cool. Yeah, send me a message, Adam. Maybe send it to my personal one, because sometimes I get kind of overwhelmed by some of them. I have so many places where you have messages, not trying to sound like weird, but you'll look at it and you'll be like, oh my God, there's like 30 messages. I don't know if I have time to answer all these. Take Ivy. That's an underrated, those takes are kind of an underrated rig there. Yeah, Ray, I was just thinking about that bike the other day, and I was like, God dang, if I had more money, I'd hit Ray up. Because I mean, I've talked to you. I'm a Gary fanboy, so yeah. Yo, Crusader, you know what's funny is my buddy just showed me a bike that was on Craigslist here in Oregon, and it was an Inman Fit with fit highs and tons of uh, coalition stuff. And I was like, I think this is Inman's old bike. I was meaning to hit him up to see if it was like one of his old bikes that he sold or got stolen or something. Scott, yeah, dude, the 89 I mean, they broke. That's the thing that sucked. But I've seen photos of yours, and I think you've seen photos of mine. The aggressor, I would take that. I mean, I have an 89 master, but the aggressor is just it's like that ugly dog that you just love so much. It's such a gross bike, and it's amazing. Yo, John, what's up? You're up late, dude. I'm psyched you're here. Yo, working schlub, you got a Sterling too? I've got my first freestyle bike was a Sterling FS 500. I rebuilt a blue one upstairs. Um, yeah, dude, the Sterlings, that's the Cuddy. I wanted a GT in Maui blue. I got a Sterling in like almost Maui blue, but it worked. I need to add people to this chat. Oh, dude, I got to figure out all that stuff. I just haven't had time lately. So, um, I'll figure that stuff out. You know, I am kind of old and figuring that stuff out's hard. And I've been just trying to figure stuff out for the podcast to go back and forth. Hopefully, I'm going to be recording one next week. When is the EBCO edition of Saturday Snakebite? We could do an EBCO edition. I don't know how long it lasts, but we could go through EBCO. Working Schlub, I got an EP here that I've been slowly getting together that I'm trying to. It's really nice, and I don't need it, so hopefully maybe I'll do something with it on the Instagram or something, because I was like, maybe I'll just sell it, but maybe it'll be funner to raffle with some t-shirts when we get them made. So so okay, I'm going to tell you guys, I know we got the GT news, and you know, when you're like me, when you're almost 50, you've seen GT kind of die and come back 3 times now. But a couple companies, I'm going to throw out some companies. Anybody knows how they went out of business or why, or if they're into it. One, I wished Ozone, it could be whack now, but Ozone was such a cool company. And I think they went out of business like 89, maybe 90 at the latest. Maybe John would know over at Volt. But I feel like they went out 89, 90. But they just had such a good vibe. I actually had an Ozone frame when I graduated high school in 94. Some dude, I lived in like a little cowboy town. Some dude just gave me an Ozone frame. I don't think he ever rode. I don't even know how he had it. And it was already starting to be old in 94, but I was just so happy to have an Ozone. And it was always in the closet of my house. And I remember, yeah, I went to the Worlds in Germany in 96, and I came home and I lived in like this BMX apartment. And one night, I guess everybody got high on mushrooms and pulled out my Ozone and chopped it up with a hatchet. So I don't have an Ozone. I would love to have an Ozone right now. Another company that it seems it does seem weird that they went out of business when BMX fell, but they seemed so strong when I was a kid was CW. And I always think it's weird that nobody ever rebuilds like a CW Bone Shaker freestyle bike, even though I think they're probably piles of crap, but I can still picture those sprockets with the bones on it. Those never came to the UK. Yeah, I don't think they lasted longer than 90 either. Did you guys? I mean, I know you guys got Go and stuff over there. Did people want those over in the UK, or was it just a flash in the pan? You know, but because over here, you know, the team and everything just, you know, you get the magazine, maybe you just dwell on it so much and just build it up more. But they definitely had a good vibe. I always just remember seeing that Leo Chen ad with the one hand invert in it. And then there's that photo. It was a freestyling or a Go with Grosso in Frisco doing like a wall ride tape on like one of the hills, and his bike looks so sick. I wish I had those Coalition Bicycle Union eat shit grips that they previewed at Interbike a billion years ago. Well, you can ask John. John, what happened to those grips? Did they ever come out? I feel like they did. Maybe I'm wrong. So I got CW, Ozone, and you know what? I wish one of the companies just here in Oregon would have lasted a little longer. We've had Titan. Titan kind of went between Portland and Texas, but that was more of a race company. It would have been cool seeing what Champion BMX was saying. Like for us up here, it would have been cool to see EBCO go further because that's been kind of the most legit like freestyle company out of Oregon. So let me know what you guys think. I have no idea why CW went out of business. I think Ozone just went out of business because, from what I heard, the dude that started it, it came from Air Uni, and I think there was a person at Air Uni that, and I could be wrong. Ray might even know if Ray's still in here what happened, but I know it came from Air Uni and started Ozone. I don't think the dude rode. It was from the Bay Area, but I just think the crash of BMX in late '88 killed that. And then EBCO. The reason EBCO died, so EBCO was a company out of Eugene, Oregon, early 2000s, and it was doing good. They were selling sprockets through Tip Plus. They started doing some frames. Tip Plus wouldn't pick up the frames if I remember correctly, but I remember Empire sold them. I think Staff sold them, and they kind of had a good vibe going on. They're made by this. Oh, there was a place that a few BMXers worked in Eugene, and they made like. What they made is like trailers for bikes. Burley. It was Burley that made EBCO, and then Burley, my buddy Jeremy, who owned EBCO, Burley wanted him to have like $2 million insurance on the company, which was impossible. So he had to can it. So that's why EBCO's not around. So yeah, I mean, Bully, that one just makes me. I think, and Ray, you were around more at that time. I think Bully would have done great if if we knew now what you had to do when you went to Taiwan. I think Taiwan just screwed RL. I mean, those bikes are made out of like maybe tri-molly, maybe not. But when you first saw that bike, I mean, what was the first ad? Like late '88? The bikes came out in '89. The bike looks so futuristic. I mean, it's a pretty bike for the time. The bike's pretty. I rode one. I bet you John rode one, or at least knew some people that rode them. The bash, I mean, you looked at the design of the bike for the time. The bash guard worked really good. You know, you had the oval tubing. The platform was cool because it was kind of raised up. I just think, I mean, RL at that time was probably what, 26, 27. And you're trying to take stuff over to Taiwan. I think Scott Breithaupt was kind of like guiding him along. But I mean, it's not like the SEs that were done in Taiwan were great, like the Broncos or anything. And I think that could have went a whole different direction if he didn't get screwed in Taiwan. But yeah, I mean, Bully. I mean, those companies people still talk about now are the ones that you're like, huh. But I don't know if we should keep bringing them back. You know, it's like sometimes it's just like you might need to let them die. Let me see what I missed on here. General is cool. General, as far as I know, that was just somebody with a lot of money that came in. You know, they sponsored RL, they sponsored Todd Anderson. I'm sure. Oh, what was that? New York. Ray, what was the dude's name in New York that was pretty sick that rode for General for a minute? And I think they sponsored Tinker Juarez for mountain biking. So, and then '88 killed it, you know. Gak, I know Chris Gak, like he's like into vintage video games and stuff now and like building out vintage video games, like stand-up ones and pinballs things. I just think that was like just a single man operation. And after a while, it just, you know, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Hold on, the shop phone's ringing. Good, BMX? Yeah, you can bring it in. I'll be here till 6 tonight. If I mean, I can take a quick look at it, but if it's going to need some wrenching, you'll probably have to drop it off. So yeah, but I'll be here till 6. All right, cool, man. All right. Whoa, we got 46 people in here. What's up, everybody? If you're new, say hi. We're just chatting about BMX companies that have went on to greener pastures. Uh, yeah, Ray, do you remember who did General? I mean, uh, I'm sure it was just somebody with money at that time, you know. I didn't ever get TS Visual. I never got a GT account. Um, I do have on the wall over there. I don't want to unhook everything, and they're screwed in the wall. I do have a cease and desist from GT because GT really wasn't around in 2005, or they were like department store, and we had these stickers that said goods with like a wing, you know, kind of paying homage to GT. And and then we had a big G on the back of the wall with a big wing, and they sent me a cease and desist. And I always love having it on display. It's kind of funny. I might start making those stickers again. So, do, do, do. I'm just trying to catch up on some of the messages. Do, do, do. Yeah, I mean, metal's been brought back a few times too. Every time something comes back, it's just like, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think people should try to bring companies back, or should they just start something fresh and new? Like, I mean, I'm really starting to see with so many companies come back, which I'm guilty of it too. Uh, maybe you should just let them sleep, dude. Hurting for a sturgeon. I got a Cannibal Cruiser upstairs, frame and fork. I've seen him riding that RL Osborne Pro. I had an RL Osborne Pro until we moved into this location. I had a frame, and I sold it just to get some extra money for the shop because that was after we had our big break in and everything. And I wish Solid Bikes was still around. I mean, Huff still does. If you go to their website, he still does stems and sprockets. So if you want that, he's got it. Sorry, there's way more messages than last time, so I'm trying to stay caught up on them, guys. Yeah, Amazing China. They're definitely better than the originals, but I mean, the originals are the originals for a reason. I mean, I'm sure a new Charger is better than the old Charger, but you know, some people are just going to be leaning towards that classic design. You know, it's going to scratch a different itch. JR, I've not heard anything about FBM coming back. But Matt, Little Devil did crash there right around 2007-8, but it never really fully went away. It's always just been Derek, you know, and I think he's found a good groove with it now. And yeah, I see him sell stuff all the time. I don't think Haro's in the position to buy GT right now. Haro's owned by, I'm gonna get all these abbreviations wrong, but I think it's the company that owns Kenda, maybe CST or something like that. It's just like a bigger company. And the dude who's running it now really wants to push it, from what I've heard. I'm not trying to, you know, ruffle any feathers, but I think he wants it to be like a big bike company. And I think that's why they've got like high-end road bikes, gravel bikes, which no one is out there like, oh, I need a Haro road bike, a carbon road bike. They've always done mountain bike stuff, so I'll let them do that. But and I think we talked about it last time, see a lot of the BMX guys that I would not ever think would ride DJs riding them. And I think that's all in the contract for Haro to save money. But I don't think them trying to be a big bike company. I think that's usually how you sync stuff. Yeah, no, Derek, if you guys, I mean, somebody likes Little Devil stuff, go hit up Derek's website. I think it's just littledevil.com, because he just got a bunch of stuff in for the holidays. I think Eastern still is a thing, Billy Bob, but you really don't see it, you know. Stop selling your company and then trying to use that person. I just think a lot of people, a lot of these people that buy these companies are like holding companies. They're just buying it to eventually send it on down the line and try to make money off it. I mean, they don't look at the thing the same way we do. Muni Bikes is still around. They do like a run of stuff a year. Chance, nope, GT Freestyle team is done. Elf is around right now. It's been bought and again, and they do race frames. I think on a pretty small level, but when you see them, they're not really the elves that you would have grown up with. No, Eastern was not Jay Miron. Jay Miron did McNeil. Eastern was John Byers. Yeah, but what Crusader, that was just them leaving. So Primo is basically the company that owns Primo is a rubber company. That's why they did low tech. That's why they've always done tires. They do some other things. Um, but I know everybody left, and it was Primo's had that like 3 times where somebody will leave and everybody else will leave, and it'll just be a big like hiccup. But there hasn't been a point that you worried about them like just going away completely, you know? Rich, I don't think Rich is gonna bring back Salvation. I don't think he's on that vibe anymore. uh yeah, post-hardcore history. I think right now that's kind of a healthy way to do things. It's just do your little drops, 1 or 2 a year if you're a smaller company, but you're kind of keeping the same vibe. I mean, just so you can have more hands-on with it. I mean, if you look at Moeller and S&M, they're doing like, I mean, they're doing way more, but they are doing like smaller. Like, hey, this is a new frame, but they're probably not going to do a massive run. It'll be like, boom, move on to that. So you can keep things fresh and in front of people's faces, you know? Yeah, they make wheelchair tires. And yeah, they're just like a rubber company. Mankind is still around. I mean, I'm not super up on the Germany stuff, but Christopher Hubert, I'm pretty sure Mankind probably. I think they just had like their 30th anniversary or something. So yeah. Tope should bring back PVC. Poor, what was it? Portland broke children or something. I don't think anybody cared the free agent went away. I mean, free agent hasn't been dope since they were making the limo. I think free agent probably hasn't been dope since like '94. Torker just got bought by Supercross. Um, they were owned by Seattle Bike Supply since the late '80s, early '90s. And Bill over at Supercross somehow got that brand. But I think what it seems like is they're just going to do little small drops to keep the Torker name around. Yeah, John, free agent. Here's the thing: free agent limos before free agent went under and got bought. Free agent was a dope company. I mean, they made progressive race bikes, and dudes rode trails on them. You could probably get V Monsters for your mom's wheelchair. I agree. I would love to see Primo make a 2.1 V Monster. Keep the 2.4s, but a 2.1. They do make my buddy. I just went through his bike, and I think he has 2.2 Primo walls on that bike. Yeah, you do know road fools though. It's not going to feel the same. I mean, it's better to just come up with fresh ideas. I mean, that's one thing with BMX is like let the old dudes do the old things, but it'd be nice to see younger dudes come up with fresh ideas, fresh companies, and not always rely on 50 to 60-year-old men. The Peregrine Super Rose kind of came back. There's a guy that owns Peregrine now, and if you go to their website, you can get certain things. He does the mags again, and they have done a run of Super Rose. They're not the same though. They're so cool, but they're not really the same. Which tires are you talking about? Hardcore. That era of Primo was cool. Yeah. Primo brought back Stogie pegs. I think I'm gonna order some of those Stogie pegs for the shop. I think they're that dude Yuma from Japan's signature peg now. But I liked those pegs when I was younger. Yeah, Project X. That's what I was trying to think of. That's pretty much like a modern Road Fools. I was tempted. I think they made them in VHS. I was tempted by a VHS in that. So, uh, oh, the Primo Walls. I mean, his over here. Here, I'll run and look at the size on his just to make sure. These are. Oh yeah. I guess yeah. They're his say 2.35 on those walls, but they really look like a 2.2. I have probably a few 90s props videos. If you want them in VHS or DVD, because I probably have a few, I'd sell you. Oh, I don't know if we need to repop an Eastern Hercules. Maybe an SOB would do okay, but I mean, were those Kurt? Would those be the two that you would want to have repopped? I mean, I could see more draw on the SOB, but nothing else from that era. McNeil's not done. They're just a Canadian company. I don't really think they have any other distribution in the world. I think they're just strictly Canadian. Um, and that pivotal royalty, I think that just, I don't, I honestly don't know where that goes. I know Darcy's the one that come up with that. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. Solid doesn't have a shop. So Aaron that owns Solid, he lives in, kind of in between Corvallis and Albany, Oregon. And he works in a machine shop where I think he sold some of his tooling to. And they do sprockets and stems out of there once in a while. Kevin, you stole it. What'd you steal? Is my current character a fisherman? No, I just trimmed up the beard and I mean, I can go fishing. I suck at it, but I mean, I used to go salmon fishing a bunch with my dad. Hoffman Bikes isn't dead, but I mean, it hasn't moved for a while. Yeah, like I said, McNeil's just up in Canada. I think they still make frame and forks, and it's just kind of a very Canadian-based company. The new ones probably wouldn't break as much. Yeah, Basic. I think Basic would. Basic would be cool because the same dudes still have the name. I know there was some talk about just doing a run of Basic Bike, Basic bars. Darcy had some samples made. I think I posted a photo up on Snakebite like 2 years ago, but I don't know if there's been movement. I think they're kind of like, if we made these basic repop bars, would people buy them? I think they could get away with doing a batch. I got a few solid headsets here. They're great headsets. Yeah, I mean, I think you'll see more. I mean, I'm trying to think what you would repop from the late 90s. I mean, Standard still around, kind of does repops. S&M, I mean, doesn't really do. I mean, they've done some repops of that. I mean, Hercules. I guess the SOB you could kind of get away with. I'm trying to think what else late 90s that. I mean, a basic would be cool. I mean, would anybody want a Revision B repop? Sorry if I'm missing some of your questions, guys. This is the most people I've had in the chat, and if I'm missing a question, I apologize. I try to chat about them all. I guess if you really want me to answer it, you can do one of those little tip things, and I'll for sure answer it. Please, you don't have to. But if you want us to talk about a certain brand or something, go ahead and do it because I'm trying to keep caught up with all of these. So, and like I said, if you're new here, say what's good. Yo, Rad Dad BMX, what's up, buddy? Working schlub. Yeah, when Kevin passed, that was sad. His son, though, wow, Kevin Robinson Jr., that dude is a badass. Thoughts on Stranger? I mean, Stranger. I mean, I think if you're into quirky street riding right now, that's kind of their vibe. I mean, I'm not going to shit on it. It's one of my buddy's companies. Um, I'd probably do a few things different, but it's his thing. And I think they have their vibe with like kind of your quirky little gibbers right now. That there's some of those dudes are kind of fun to watch. There's this one Japanese dude that I followed that he's fun. It's different. T-chain stay casting and chroma. That could be cool, Frankie. That actually I always kind of like casting. They've repopped the General Lee a few times. Yeah, with Powerlight, Paul, I'm wondering if that's still in the GT, the GT. I wonder if, what is it, Pawn Holdings owns Powerlight because they own Dyno. But I wonder if the Powerlight and the Robinson are in there too, or where those are at. I could switch from a fisherman to a cowboy. I grew up in a cowboy town, and both of those characters are easily from where I grew up. So they repopped the Federal Fraction, I think, a few years ago. And yeah, Sick Childs. The early OOs had some wild flatland bikes. What up, Bob? How are you? Yeah, some dude, I totally remember Homeless. A few live feeds ago, we pulled up some of the later Homeless bikes. I'll show you. We've got, these are like the 95, 96 ones, but we got like the Homeless Porn Star in here. I showed a few dudes this. I got a Homeless Mac 2 over there. I just put some OG 91 Homeless forks on a 91 Sport upstairs. I needed to get a video done with that. I'm trying to finish that bike, and I'll probably put those forks on there as like a holding spot until I find, some better forks for it. But I kind of like the bikes mishmashed, looking like what dudes rode. Kink Fiend repop. That would be a cool late 90s one. I wonder if there's enough dudes nowadays because dudes did sweat Dave Young pretty hard. I wonder how many dudes would be into. I think that could be a one you could repop. I can't see Kink doing it, but I could see that. Thank you, some dude. If you got a question or a bike you want to chat about, just shoot me a thing. I'll pay attention, and we'll get it going. Dave Young was, man. Dave's a super nice dude. Jesse Puente. Did you know Jesse Puente is actually from Oregon? I've been trying to track down one of my old friends that had footage of Jesse Puente at the old Eugene Valley River Mall. He's got an 89 Haro Master. The whole bash guard's cut off. Just a tube with a bottom bracket. He's doing like hauling ass through that mall, just doing whiplashes. I need to find that footage. Is Claiborne still around? Is Claiborne still like with MCS and like Bully there in Florida? Yeah. 66 people in here. Hey, everybody. Thomas, mismatch forks do rule. I don't feel bad. Some people, there's always dudes that build out bikes, and they're like, "Oh, you don't have the right forks." I'm like, "Did you ride at that time?" Like, dudes were going through forks all the time. Like, I don't think it's crazy if a dude has a 1991 Sport has Homeless forks on it. Someone, I'm sure, did. Did Verdi do a Dave Thompson SIG frame? I mean, god dang, talk about a dude that's a bad dude. Like, he is a murderer. Wow. So I could see JR, honestly, I could see somebody repopping a Morales flatland frame with like maybe some modern Geo, and I could see dudes really being into that. That is a 90s frame I could see coming back. That one, definitely, I could see people being into that. I've had a lot of people say S&M needs to bring the revenge tires back. You're not the first person that said that. Like, I've heard quite a few people say that. So Claiborne's owned by Answers Squared, Adam. So, but that's not the same company as MCS Bully, is it? That's not all in the same house, is it? Season. Dude, you know what's crazy is I had a Season sprocket up till about a year ago. One of the little, I think it had like the Season logo with the little, seasons on it. I totally spaced about Season. That's crazy. Stuart, where did you hear the Haro dropping their BMX program? I haven't. I mean, I know GT did. I haven't heard anything about Haro. I mean, it is the end of the year. Merry Christmas, guys. People are getting dropped. Um, I haven't heard that. I don't think that one's happening. But if you have a link or something to that, send it through. I don't know if Alone is still going. Wasn't Alone a UK company? I don't know if John's still in here, but maybe he could tell us. A king would be sick. Champion, did I run pegs on the peg bosses? The Wilk. I actually learned handrails downstairs with my pegs on those Wilkerson forks. The thing that sucked though is the fork would go down and your wheel would go away from it. So if it was a skinny handrail, it would stick in there. And there was plenty of times, more on flat rails than downstairs, that I would stick and flip over the handlebars. The Yeah BMX, hey, what's going on, dude? Yeah, we used to get some season stuff in the shop back in the day, and I remember that was like, was that a Milwaukee brand? Was that a Milwaukee company? Yeah, me too. TSY. I mean, if Haro dropped their BMX program, stuff's going. I mean, I know stuff's hard on everybody right now, but if they drop their BMX program, whoo, stuff. Oh, that'd be bad. Hey, Jeff. Was that yellow Homos frame a reproduction? No, that's a OG one. Gary from BMX Museum brought those by the other day and dropped them off. He just came in and dropped them off during one of the live feeds, and they've just been here. But that's one of the like last homeless bikes they made. But Merry Christmas, dude. I vaguely remember the hit. Was Hidden Nation just called Hidden for a minute? I agree with you. In the early 90s, if you got those red line forks, the tapered ones, that was the standard, dude. Those red line forks, it didn't matter what other bike you had. You wanted the red line taper forks. The Haro forks, the 86, 87 ones were pretty good, but those early 90s ones died. I did rip a whole dropout off a pair of like 87s, Trine 540s, but that was like in 94. Like I'd just gotten a pair of forks, my bike, but I ripped the whole dropout, like coming up short on 540 and just tore it apart. So, but those red line forks, that was the gold standard at that time. The Arsenal sprockets, I sold it. I had an Arsenal sprocket. It was missing the bash guard piece, but I had one for a long time, and I remember so many dudes rode those at that time. BMX Museum I think BMX Museum might be the most visited BMX website there is. I mean, people are on there constantly all the time. To check my text. Okay, I'm gonna look at my text message. Ricky said, check my text. What am I looking at? Yeah, I already saw that. That was just them moving that factory, but I don't think they dropped the team. I mean, I've seen that for a long time. Um, but I mean, maybe, dude, I don't know. I'm on this live feed for 2 hours. It's the end of the year, something crazy. I feel like after the GT thing, there's gonna be one more at least pretty heavy thing that hits BMX or the bike industry. Cars are for driving. Hey, what's up, man? Do you live like around Perth? Damn, it's summertime down there, dude. I'm jealous. I could deal with like 8 in the morning in the summer. That'd be nice right now. some dude, a lot of the forks back then were, even those red line forks were just, they'd be welded on the outside and have like maybe 2 or 3 tack welds on the inside. That wasn't that odd. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to stay caught up on these. What up, Woodenfoot? Wait for the second shoe to drop. Yeah, I mean, kind of. Yeah, I agree, Matt. I mean, I think it's weird when dudes are like super stressed about having like, I mean, it's cool to have like a all factory bike, whatever. But I mean, that was the cool part is like when you got that bike and stuff started breaking, you could start putting on like the pieces that you've been staring at in a magazine for a while, or one of your friends or one of the older riders had, and getting that thrown on your bike. That's when you thought you made it, you know? I saw people trying to sell like the newer GT stuff for like a ridiculous price. It had me laughing. Oh man, those dudes are corny, man. The GT and Haro beef. I mean, GT and Haro are always beefing. They had that one ad that what was it? GT saying Haro don't do something they make do. I'll tell you, I'm not really a beef story, but like we all know, I like bash guard bikes. I like that era from '88 to like '94. It doesn't really have to be a bash guard bike. That's the era I was in high school, and I feel like a lot of stuff happened in BMX at that time. But I do know, whoa, Beaver Cam. Oh, it's Matt. Matt, you can come ride the ramp anytime you want. I wish you would come ride my ramp. It sucks though. I need to get a couple more lights. If we can get 2 more lights in the backyard, I think we can ride it at night. Because I have it lit up. You could ride it right now, but if we got a couple more lights, we could totally ride it when it's dark out. But I do know when Haro came out with the '89 Bash Guard, it was like rated Interbike, and I think Magoo got a whiff of that through the industry and the scene. And I know when they came out with the Aggressor the same year to combat that, because that's when street riding was coming in hard. I know they made that. Oh, hold on. Someone's at the door. Hey, babe. Oh, a healthy sandwich or a healthy food. I'm on the live stream over there. Is he staying with me? Okay, I love you. Thank you. All right, come on, amigo. I guess you're with me. My wife just dropped me off some lunch and my dog. Hold on a sec. Come here, amigo. You want to say hi, everybody? Let's say hi. There's my dog, amigo. You're a good boy. He wanted to hang out with me. Anyway, what I was saying is, sorry, that was so random. GT rushed making that GT Aggressor so they could show it at Interbike. And I feel like GT was always rushing on bash guard bikes because they were always just placed wrong. But yeah, sorry, that whole thing kind of threw me off. But maybe I'll dig out some ads, Kurt, and we can find some of the GT Haro beef ads, because I really feel like a lot of those were more early '80s to mid '80s, and then the late '80s. I think just everybody had so much money they didn't even care there for a while. Kevin Shoemaker, you stole a 10 mil. Okay. Yeah, that's when metal came back. They did the run of frames and stuff. Yeah, my wife's cool. Yeah. Let's see what she brought me. She asked what I wanted, and I said, "Oh, you can just bring me some." I was trying to make it easy. I'm like, "There's some Carl's Jr. up the street." So she brought me grapes and I don't know what this is. I don't know what that is, but and then she brought me some salad rolls, some shrimp salad rolls, and a turkey BLT sandwich. But I don't think I have. I'll have to find a fork. Hold on. I think I missed some stuff. Some dude, thank you for the tip, man. I appreciate it. Did I miss anything else? Okay, there's Matt. I'm just trying to stay caught up, guys. Thank you for everybody for hanging out too. I think everybody's probably getting settled in for Christmas time. I'm going to be working up to Christmas Eve just in case we have a few late orders. And then I'll probably have the day after Christmas Eve off. And then I'm going to take New Year's Day off and take the dog out to the, what are you eating, dog? Take the dog out to the ocean and play. I know there's king tides out there this time of year. So we'll just go out and have some food and chill. So, champion GT makes bikes, Haro makes do. Yeah, there was one too where I think one of them won Nora Cup and then had a cake, and then somebody. I'll find the ads. We'll do a live with that. Not even like repops the metal bikes. I mean, they did that newer run, but then I think it's just dead in the water now. The Aaron Ross Sundays, yeah, those ones are kind of, and that's kind of like having a GT Performer. You know, you keep it all there because it's just such a pretty bike. Trying to get caught up on these. Ooh, threshold sprocket on the Homes would look sick. The Huffy re-entering BMX. I mean, I think that was just their parent company wanting to have some riders in the Olympics. I bet you they're not even. I mean, maybe they're on Huffies. Maybe they had Taiwan make some Huffies. They might be just riding layered frames. Freak Nasty. Hopefully, I've done a couple of these live streams. I've went over the meth bar situation. Hopefully, I'll have more news early new year. So hold tight. If you want, send me a message on Instagram. I don't want to just tell everybody the same story like 4 times, and but hopefully, fingers crossed. I need a new set too. So I think everybody's just resigned to posting on Instagram now. But yeah, blogs and websites. I enjoyed going home. It's kind of up to the magazine side, but you could at least get your fix from a blog. But it is nice seeing more magazines come back. It's nice being able to get a couple subscriptions. I got a subscription to Silent Magazine. You can get a subscription to Greystoke. It'd be awesome if Dig did a couple, like 2 mags a year, like get Greystoke, and you could get a subscription to that. So, Beaver Camp, she is telling me to eat healthier. Yeah, for sure. She's the better part of the relationship than I am. I don't think Bone Death's on pause. I think they actually have a new stuff coming out like anytime now. I'd go check out their Instagram. GT sent Haro cake in the shape of number 1. Yeah, that's right. You're right, Russell. I was trying to remember exactly which way it went. I'm Freak Nasty. I'm happy just everybody comes here and hangs out. Where are you at in Massachusetts? There's actually a few riders out here from like New Hampshire and a couple dudes from Mass and stuff. So yeah. Oh, Cape Cod. Awesome. I've only been out that way. I was out that way on a Road Fools. And I know we rode Burgers upstairs, private skate park. But that was a long time ago. Oh, dude, I'm glad you finally got it, Thomas. Was everything okay in there? Dude, shipping right now is giving me more gray hairs. I got a few more things over there. I'm gonna ship out. I'd like to go back and visit Texas, Adam. I haven't been for probably about 10 years. Hold on, I got to see what my dog's eating over here. Migo, what do you got? Hey. No, you can't eat styrofoam, dude. We can't eat styrofoam. I didn't choke anybody on that road full. So I think that. No, I don't. I don't think I did anything stupid on that one. Uh, so I think next week's live feed, Thomas, when we're talking about that box. What's the date? I just need to make sure that New Year's isn't falling on it, so we can figure everything out. Hold on. Let me see what the date is. So next one will be 28th. I might do that one from because I've been reorganizing a ton of magazines in my basement. So I might just do one there where I'm organizing the magazines, and maybe if dudes are into that mag, they can buy it right then. And but I've been doing a bunch of stuff in my basement, organizing everything. What up, Patrick? Save Amigo. Let's see if I got something to give Amigo. Amigo, are you hungry? Oh shit! Here he comes. Are you hungry, Amigo? Everybody's saying I should feed you. Come here. What should we feed you? Do you want a cucumber? Here, come here. I'll pick you up and I'll feed you this cucumber. Come here. All right, there he goes. You want that? I don't think he'll eat it up here. Are you out, Adam? Happy New Year. Merry Christmas, dude. Hopefully I'll see you sooner than later, maybe out the jump so when it gets dries up, or maybe we'll catch each other at the new Sandy skate park or something. I never thought about that, Zippy. It stands for extreme Schwinn. I mean, it's that era of like, I don't know. Like, does anybody else know if that stood for extreme Schwinn? I mean, I don't think it did. That sounds so weird, but it could have. Yeah, maybe I'll get something to eat over here. What do we got? Oh. Huh. What's in this? Goo or something? Ew, that's got goo in it. All right. Yeah, on those earlier race frames, ones like the Flames and stuff. I should probably work on this bike a little since I've been chatting for so long. It could be that short for that too. Make sure I'm not missing anything. So, yeah, did anybody find out if anything? I don't think that Haro thing's real. I'm gonna look it up really quick. I'm gonna look it up. I don't think. Oh, weird. Nope, that's an old one. Okay. Haro's Instagram's so weird now. Like, it's just like they have a Haro BMX one, but they don't do anything with it. And they post everything on Haro bicycles. I mean, let's look at Dennis's thing. I don't think Haro dropped anybody. Huh? Dennis did post that he riding for Deity components on mountain bikes. So I don't know what's going on. I'm not really into mountain bikes, but ride a bike, have fun. You know. I didn't buy a seat. Which company are you talking about, Kevin? I'm sure people are trying to do that, Adam. Which Robinson did you find? Was it like an old Robinson Rebel or something? Let's had to run a frame called the Thumper. It's Stop whining. Come here. I'll give you attention. You are such a baby when you're hitched up. You just want your stomach rubbed all the time. Oh, in excess. I remember when that dude did pass away. All right, amigo, you get more cucumbers. SST. Oh, the SST. Yeah, that's pretty close to what the Rebel is. Probably, I think they made those SSTs from like 93 to like 97. How bad's the rust on it? I mean, you could probably do like a vinegar dip and get most of that off of it. And don't worry about making a stock, dude. Just get some stuff from that era and just make the bike dope, just so you can ride it. That's the best way. You want another piece of cucumber? There you go. There you go, bud. Yeah, the white vinegar is awesome to use. The one thing from experience, I would do it in like 8-hour intervals, doing the dip on any of the parts. Pull them out after 8 hours, wipe them down, kind of clean it, see where you're sitting. I accidentally left a pair of one-piece cranks in a vinegar dub for 2 weeks, which is a long time. And I pulled them out, and it had eaten through the center part of the spindle. And I was like blown away that the vinegar would eat through. You know, I think they were GT one-piece cranks, the Power Series ones. So if you do it, I usually do it just overnight. Check everything in the morning, clean it up, put it back in if I need to. So yeah. Gary Ellis, the manager of Nerve. I met Gary Ellis when he was the team manager of Nerve at the downhill race at Woodward. And being from the Pacific Northwest, it's weird that I'd never seen Gary Ellis, but blown away by how monster of a human he was. It's crazy because after racing, he was just so big. And then I've seen him recently at the Frogtown races, and you know, he's in really good shape, but he's dropped a lot of that muscle. So yeah. Can we repop the fight? Is that fight on YouTube or anything anywhere? So Skura invented the gyro, and I think he's riding for Odyssey at the time. But I think they're the ones that put the patent on it. And then Skura, you know, I mean, Skura was pretty old then. He was like 27, 28 there in like the mid 80s. And then he just started Orig, and I think he changed a few things with SST and started doing his own and sponsoring a bunch of dudes. It's weird because he lived in Baker City, Oregon when he was doing all that, which is just a tiny little town on the border of Idaho. I've never done the baking soda. I usually just rinse it off with some water and you know, give it a good wipe down. But that makes sense. The S&M drop, you know, those S&M drop no seeds. Yeah, everybody likes those. I don't even remember when those came out. I mean, I think they came out around like 95, but they didn't make too many of them. Did Brian Foster ride for Voxum? Do you remember, was it Voxum or Nerve? They had the tires that would come in the enormous condom wrappers. Does anybody remember that? Like, remember there was like an ad of somebody handing somebody a tire, but it was all suggestive, and it was like a big condom wrapper. Does anybody remember that? I don't think the Vans brake shoes. So Cool Stops here in Portland, and I don't know the whole gist of it, but that was just them. I've seen the sample brake shoes, and I've seen the carvings for the mold, and that was just Cool Stop. Cool Stop had an original agreement with Vans, and this is why they've been able to make the Vans brake shoes for so long. That when they did shirts, that Cool Stop would always have a Vans logo, and Vans should always have a Cool Stop logo. Well, you go on because they were both small companies, back there in the early '80s. So you keep going on, and Van starts doing other things. It doesn't have Cool Stuff logos. Then I know it like Interbike, like maybe 15 years ago, some lawyers came up from Vans, after they've been bought to, I think, some holding company that owns like Oshkosh Bagosh and a few things. They came up and were questioning them about the Vans brake shoes, and they pulled up the original contract and was like, well, we can hit you guys back for not having our logo on all of your t-shirts, from, whatever those came out, 83, 84 on. So they kind of just left that one dead in the water, and they're still making the brake shoes. Nerve frames were hideous. My buddy Forrest, once we were working at Woodward, and they had one of the B3 contests, and Mike Laird was there, and that's when he was riding for Nerve. And every time Laird would do a trick or something, my buddy would tell Mike that he had a lot of nerve for trying that trick. I don't know. It was funny to me at the time. I had an Echo full face growing up. I've got an enormous. If anybody's into it, for like, if you got a shop or like a garage, if anyone wants an enormous Echo helmet spanner, I'd gladly sell you mine because I don't have room for it. So if anybody's into an Echo helmet spanner, like an old mid '80s, early '80s one, hit me up. I'd gladly let that one go. You remember that ad? Yeah, BMX. John Greer holding the Kana bags. Is it okay? Was John Greer in that ad? That's funny. If somebody could find that ad, send it to me on Instagram. I'd love to post it. Yeah, I knew Voxum was Nerve's parts company. I don't even know who owned Nerve. That was such a weird brand. Mosh frames, there was a couple that I don't think, for the time, the Marcus Wilkie one was super ugly. Now, they did have the one, their first one that came out, the Aiken, and a few of those dudes rode with the big, I forgot what it was called, the crazy big tube. But the ones that they rode later on weren't really that bad. I don't know who ran Nerve and Voxum. Kuwahara, I think Kuwahara honestly is still owned by the same family. I know they still make bikes over in Japan, and it's not like the same vibe that we grew up with, but I think they still like make modern race bikes over there. And I know they do some like repops of the ET bikes and stuff, but I think it's the same family that's owned it forever. Nerve, that does sound right. I'm sure they got backing from somewhere else. The Brass 4-Star, was that the Marcus frame, or was that the more like kind of racy one that like Matt Puro rode? Was it some type of mountain bike company that owned Nerve? That seems on par. That seems like, who would own it. I'm going to try to eat one of these salad rolls, guys, because I haven't eaten lunch and I'm hungry. I don't know what the sauce is. The GT in the stand just waiting for a couple parts. But I kind of feel like that, dude. I'm waiting on a lower gyro cable that was supposed to be here like 3 days ago, but Christmas has made it to where that's not here. I have every other freaking gyro cable, but I guess I ran out of lowers. That's literally all I need to do is put the lower gyro cable on, dial in the brakes, put on some new brake shoes, and then just give it one final cleaning, and it is good to go. Oh, 4-Star was the Begley one. Is your ACS boa a 10 mil or the oversized one? You're hurting my soul though, post hardcore, but telling me it's never going to get done, because I would love to see these GT Tri-Fan mags out of my life. Mosh brass frames. What was Ardeline on it? I think you're right. I think, what? He wasn't on a DK. I know if I'll have to go back and watch that. Dude, Mosh had a pretty wild team there for a minute. We have that OG Mosh video up on our YouTube if you want to go watch it, easy style. That's the one where Begley, and I'm not hating on Begley because I've seen him ride in person. He's really good. But that's one where the banger of the video was the tail whip from picnic table to picnic table. And he's just going to town, just dying. And then the one that they used, and they used it for the cover, he puts his foot down. So, he was, yeah. Artelene was on one of the Huffies. He was on the Huffy race bike that they put 990s on, which was, I remember seeing those bikes. Him and Ruben had those Huffies. And I think Josh Cornell had one of those too. It was basically like, might have had a different back end, but it's basically the Huffy race bike with 990s. And I remember seeing Artelene's and Ruben's at Woodward. Those bikes were crazy light. That's when Huffy had this crazy team. But yeah, that's what he was riding. The Mosh, I mean, I don't know who sold Mosh completes, but I mean, I hung out with all the dudes that rode for Mosh back in the day. I was gonna make a throwback to. Yeah, I mean, I was amazed Ari finished that wheel last week. He was going to town with that. Huffy 1 ton. The Huffy probably. If you Zippy, are you talking about the Huffy? I think when those bikes came out is when people were starting to get their bikes. Dude, I want to say Ruben's bike that time, which was crazy. It was down to like, those were like getting down to like 26, 27. I know they were riding a lot of tie parts and stuff, but that's right when bikes really starting to drop off. Yeah, I mean, the Mosh bikes, I mean, I lived with Rich. I was good friends with Matt Puro. A lot of dudes rode their hand-me-down bikes. I mean, I remember Rich riding that Marcus Wilkie one, and it seemed fine, It just seemed like any other Taiwan bike time. The one that Jerry did the tail whip on, I think, is the brass 4-star or whatever. It depends on which Diamondback era, but like the Bruce Crispin frame and all those Diamondbacks, those are heavy frames. Those are heavy. Amigo, come here. Don't you bark at me. He might need to go outside here in a sec. Why don't you guys hit me with some more questions on a couple companies you're curious about that went under? I'm going to let this dog out back really quick. Come on, amigo. Come on. Go. All right, I'm back. Okay, what did I miss? Schwinn. I got a Schwinn. Which one do we have over here? Not the Powermatic, but we have. Yeah, so I have a complete Schwinn automatic Joey Garcia over there. If anybody's ever interested in it, I got a complete one. How about Citizen? Yeah. I think if you go on the YouTube, I did talk to Mike a little about Citizen in the podcast I did with him. And then Mike and Ruben and Evan Krakow did a company called Family. Was it Family? in the early 90s. And they both had prototype frames that never really went further than that. Hawk and Cheetah race bikes. I know some dudes. Yeah, I have a buddy that's got two Cheetahs that are really, really nice. The funny thing about Hawk is, like, I remember seeing him in ads, and you'd see pictures, and you're like, like that one Go cover. I think it was the last Go with Brian Lopes on the cover. These bikes look so futuristic, and then you see them in real life, and you're like, what are they bending these? Now that you're older and been around BMX more, you're like, they look so homemade. The Hawks do, but I mean, they definitely have a following. But I remember the first time I saw a Hawk, like, looking at it, and I was like, this looks like a homemade bike. Diamondback Seahawk, dude, the Darren Reed one, yeah. My buddy has one. That's actually kind of a dope frame. And Darren Reed's like one of the dopest riders ever. Yo, what's up, Carlos? Hope things are going good down in Mexico. Hope you guys are getting ready to have a good Christmas. Two Hip, kind of, I would say that's the best thing, is it just faded away. Ron has that little the acai bowl kind of cafe that he does with his ex-wife, and I think he still has product. You can still hit him up and get some things, but I would say that's the best thing, is it just faded away. Stuff might come back, but it just kind of faded away. So, wow, I'm missing a lot of these. Okay. Cardinal bikes, yeah. That's a rare one with the road bike forward dropout. Yeah, Cardinal was pretty rare. What was that, 2007? It would have been cool to see band keep going. Hell on Earth, I feel like, was more East Coast. I mean, that I'm pretty sure that was just Greg Walsh. Iron Duke, Redline, and Dyno of the 90s. See, I like my Redline Dyno of the 80s, but it just depends, like, when you grow up. I have an FBM Angel Death shirt in my basement. I have a bunch of, like, vintage shirts. Maybe when we do that one in the basement, when I going through some mags, I'll show you guys some of the old T-shirts. I have, like, a really early FBM shirt that looks like it says Fat Bald Men, but it looks like it says Mountain Dew. Flying Crossbody. We did go over EBCO earlier in the live stream. So when this finishes, if you want to pop back, you can catch the EBCO part. Alliance Bike Co. was out of the Toronto area. I met that guy. I'm trying to remember. His name was Jamie. Yeah, his name was Jamie. I just think he was one of the riders out of the Toronto area. But they made some pretty dope bikes at the time. Sorry, guys. There's just a lot of messages. I'm trying to get caught up on them. Like I said earlier, if you really want me to answer a message about the bikes or something, just shoot one of those ones through at the tip. You don't have to. If you don't want to, it's okay. I'm not trying to squeeze anybody, but there's a lot of questions, and I'm trying to just get caught up on them. But if I do that, I'll see it, and I fully will answer it. Bye, Matt. Hope you get home safe driving. We'll talk soon. So see you later. If I don't talk to you before Christmas, Merry Christmas. What was the first GT freestyle bike of all time? It would have been a GT Performer. I think they were 84, Carlos. Flying Crossbody. I remember that name of that frame, but I don't remember who made it. Did Phil Wasson make frames or just those pedals? I agree. Captain's Cog, I'm glad you agree with me. Yeah, I mean, I know lots of people that wrote them, but they fully looked homemade. Have fun at the Christmas party, dude. Appreciate you coming by. Merry Christmas. I'll chat with you here soon. Hitman Bikes. That's this. So I think that dude still does an eBay thing. I know that dude originally, I think he was from California, lived in Portland in the early 90s. I see him post up photos like riding Burnside and stuff. Here's a funny Hitman Bikes story for you guys. So, and this could be fully wrong. This is what this is a funny Hitman Bikes / Cool Stop story. So back in the 80s, Cool Stop had a portable 8-foot quarter pipe that they do demos and bring out to some of the local contests. And it would just sit in the Cool Stop parking lot. Around 1990, someone stole the quarter pipe. No one knew where it went. None of the riders in the scene knew where it went. It was just gone, you know. And it was green with an oval Cool Stop logo. If you watch some old videos from some Northwest stuff, you'll see it at some old contests. Sorry, my dog's doing something weird down here. So fast forward to Interbike, probably around 2012. My buddy Anthony, you've probably seen him in some videos. He works at Cool Stop. He was just at the Interbike booth, and some dude walked up and handed him a piece of paper. And I'm pretty sure it was the Hitman Bikes guy. And it said where the ramp was. So we went out there. It was out in Sandy, Oregon. And we ended up actually driving by it like 5 times. It looked like it was the back of it. The back of it closed in, and it had hydraulics that would lift it up and down. So it was close. And we thought it was a shed we were driving by. It was just covered in blackberries. It ended up being the Cool Stop quarter pipe. I think that dude back in the day, maybe him and a few dudes jacked the ramp, stashed it, and then that dude moved down to California, and then it just gave those guys the I think it was like, you know, like a weird, like, you know, when people have the locations on the map, it wasn't even like, it was just, yeah, that location, and we went to it. So we tried getting that ramp out of there, but somebody stole the hydraulics out of it, so we couldn't get it lifted up, and it was like super homemade portable quarter pipe. So we finally get some new tires, and we go out there, and we're about to get this thing, and we pull up, and this has been like a month. We've been trying to get this thing trailered out of there, and we go out there, and it's gone, and all the blackberries are just cleared, and we get out of the car and walk around. This dude literally was in the process of torching it apart. Some dude had just bought the property, didn't know what it was, and when we walked back there, he was finishing just torching the ramp into pieces. And I was devastated. I would have loved to have had the OG, that quarter pipe, because it had a lot of Oregon BMX history. So that's the story. I think the guy from Hitman Bikes stole it as a kid, and then felt bad and gave him the directions as when he was older. I mean, S&M's done some enclosed dropouts. A few people have done enclosed dropouts. I mean, in theory, you know, it makes sense, but I'm not a big female axle guy in the back. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of dudes. And that's the thing with BMX is sometimes it takes a lot to make it move forward. But I could see a lot of people being into it. Whoa, a lot more questions. Hold on. Jamie Delaney, thank you. Yes, Jamie Delaney. That's the guy who owned Alliance. Heaton was on commercial, and then he went to McNeil. I had a commercial. I sold it to Gary at BMX Museum years back. Yeah, the Credence frames that Clint did. His dad used to build bikes, like custom road bikes, and they were titanium. So, yeah, I'm sure there's a few of those still floating around. Amigo, why are you growling at me? If you want me to pet you, come over here. Kind of wish my wife wouldn't have dropped the dog off. He just wants all this attention right now. The Hitman. Do you remember when Hitman had they had a road trip in props, like a SoCal road trip, and oh man, I'm having a brain fart of that dude. Oh, they had a few dudes that rode for him that people would have known their names, but yeah, that Hitman was. You know, I'm not trying to ever shit on anybody, but it was a different company. Come here. You want another vegetable? I'll give you a vegetable. Come here. Sorry, my dog's acting a fool. Yo, what's up? What's up, Welly? How are you doing, buddy? Chris Silva's modernized Schwinn frame. No, I mean, I know who Chris Silva is. If you got a link, will you send it to me on Instagram at Shad4130? Kid Wilson, where's Prospect Bikes out of? Hey, Ben, how are you? I don't know. There's been a lot of people in here tonight, more than we've had before. So I'm just trying to keep caught up on everything. But I mean, we went over EBCO, we went over Bully. We tried to go over GT, which I know you probably know about. Somebody was saying Haro just dropped all their team, which I haven't heard that. Ben, have you heard that? So I don't know. we're just kind of plugging away, just chatting about rigs. Yeah, my buddy has two of the deluxes. He has the solid made one and the Taiwan one. Dave Smith did ride for Hitman after Hoffman. I remember that. Who else rode for Hitman? Who is that dude that he's a DJ now? And he could ride vert. Everybody. He had that Staples Center's manual ad. I think it was a split ad, but I guess he just rode and picked up, and he'd always get shit for that. I'm trying to remember what that dude's name is. Dog, what are you eating? You can't eat a reflector. Reflectors aren't for dogs. Come here. Oh my God. My dog is straight up just eating reflectors right now. Just dropped 300 on GT products at Albies. What did you get? Well, tell us what you got. Does Albies have GT? Ben Snowden. Thank you. God, I haven't eaten. Echo brought me some lunch. I haven't eaten it yet, but yeah, Ben Snowden rode for Hitman. About TNA brand in the hopper frame? I don't. Is that a British company or a European company? Flying crossbody. Yeah, I mean, between a AA and an autopilot, they're both pretty dope frames. I mean, I don't think you made a bad choice being an autopilot. I mean, I rode AA's, but those were both awesome bikes. Thank you, UFO. Merry Christmas to you, man. Hopefully things are good for you. I have a AA. I have a prototype one because that's when I was riding for Solid. So all the production ones came with mid. Mine's got a Euro BB, and it used to have really big dropouts on it, like when they did them. And when they built it up, we just trimmed them at the time. Yeah, Germany's had some. I mean, Keiichi, I think Keiichi and Mankind are probably the most. I mean, I think I'm a world away, but I feel like Keiichi and Mankind are the most known German companies. But I know they've had lots of like smaller companies. You know, especially if you're into collecting, you know, they have some really cool. Well, Diamondback, Dragonfly, Mankind, and Keiichi are probably the biggest ones. But I know they've had a lot of companies that come out of Germany. Sputnik actually was originally German, and then the guys at Sparky's purchased it, and then they had a pretty good team there in the early 2000s. And then some stuff happened, and they just decided to stop going forward with it when everything sells out. Ben, there's something you better not sell. But hit me up about that bike we were talking about. I do have interest in. I have somebody interested in it. Yeah, Ron Bonner, I think, bought them in 2006. Zippy, does that sound right? The proper titanium hubs. I don't remember those, but we really barely got proper stuff over here. Spike bike for sale. Come on, bro. Stop. Ben, I might break into your house and just steal that one. I might break into your house and just steal it. I mean, I think, sorry, I have food in my mouth. I don't think trees do anything. I think they still have product to sell, but yeah. Elf is great. Somebody bought Elf. Elf's still around. They make race bikes, but it's probably not the Elf that you remember, you know, the extra light frame. Yeah, I mean, Carlo did a lot of proper. We just, you know, Ben, we didn't get much proper here, but Big Carlo Griggs fan here though. Time. Yeah, Johnny Devlin, dude, what an underrated street rider from the early 2000s. Um, he came through Portland when he was still on Sputnik there at that time, and I was super impressed with how good he was. Tree just does Tree still has those tree seats? People love those things, dude. I don't know what happened to Johnny Devlin. I know he kind of was like into like um he was kind of like a crust punker, hopping trains, kind of living that lifestyle. Um, I kind of got the feel from him. He never was really into being in the limelight of BMX. He just loved riding. So I think he just kind of pulled away. I bet you I wouldn't surprise me if he still rides, just kind of like on his, just off on his own thing. I think Tree is kind of alive. I think you can go buy stuff. Oh, is that what it is? What? Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I have played the Burnside map at Matt Hoffman BMX, and the thing that would drive me nuts is I couldn't carve. And Ben will probably agree with me when even like in some of the skate games. I remember the first skate game that had Burnside was the Thrasher game, and then Matt Hoffman had it, and I think skater Tony Hawk 2. But it always drove me nuts that you couldn't carve up the pillars, or one of the games you could, but there were lines that I wanted to do that you couldn't do, and it always kind of drove me nuts being a person that kind of grew up riding there. Okay, I'll look at those Schwinn's right now. I'm curious about them. Okay. Oh, sorry, trying to find some of this stuff. There it is. So he's got the Schwinn's. Oh, he's got the smaller sprockets on it. Oh wow. Oh my god. So he made the Schwinn sticker look like it says animal. That's funny. When did he post this photo? Those are crazy. Yeah, here I'll show you guys. Like, there's a Schwinn animal stickers instead. He has them all set up modern with different decals and stuff. Crystal was gnarly. Drop the link in the chat. Snafu is. I think Snafu's still around. Um, maybe I don't know. Did you have a Specialized Fat Boy? I think that's a love hate frame. Dudes that grew up with them love them, and then everybody else hated them. But I know people are there's people that definitely are into them. Did they fill the DT with the down tube with lead to make it the right weight? I'm not sure. Here, I'm gonna take another bite of food, guys. I'm starving. Yeah, some of them were missing the seat tubes. I mean, I could see. Sorry, guys. I got a salad roll in my mouth. Hold on. Let me take a drink of this drink. Not trying to be that dude on camera. Okay. Dude, if I was a kid in the '90s, I would have probably been into a Specialized Fat Boy. I mean, you're just into things that are, just spark your interest. Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember. I'm like, I think they're sold out to Hyper. It's weird that like free agent closed down. It's just weird. Hyper and Snafu just keep going. Like it's crazy to me. TJ was a sick dirt jumper, dude. TJ is such a good dude, such a nice dude, man. He's one of those guys that you're like, oh, he does the MTV thing, and he was like a super pro. Dude's the most down to earth, nice guy. And when you talk to him, I mean, this dude cares about BMX. We have some meetings together for like the BMX Hall of Fame and stuff, and he knows, dude. He knows his shit. Like he's such a good dude. I'm sure most of the brands are struggling. I mean, I feel like S&M's doing pretty good. Um, Man, I'm trying to think which brands if I was to look at, and I'm like, okay, they're doing pretty good. I feel like S&M is. I know Kink had some hiccups, especially with that fire, but I feel like they're kind of sitting steady. But I don't know. I mean, I'm just talking out my ass. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I remember seeing those ones. I mean, I feel like, I mean, I honestly don't think any brand's super thriving right now. I mean, if some of you haven't been in BMX as long as some of us, we've seen a couple crashes, and this is one of them. One thing I can say is I feel like way more people ride BMX now than the last few times it's crashed. There's just so many people that ride, but so many companies during COVID just ordered excessive amounts of parts, which I don't blame them, because at the time no one knew what was going on. And I think if they didn't, we wouldn't be in this situation. I think if COVID didn't happen. So yeah, we didn't talk. I mean, we talked a little about King, but I mean, King was dope, dude. King, all the parts were pretty progressive. Um, they had the clamp on stem, their forks. I had two buddies that rode those bikes. They had the axles, the dropout protector, like dropout strengthener things. King was awesome. I mean, I think they were around from like, they weren't around for much. I mean, it was Stuart King and Steve Inge that did Poor Boy and stuff. And damn, Stuart King was such a boss at that time. I remember going to Merino Valley contest in '95 and kind of having a little Timmy meltdown because Stuart King was there, and watching him ride that 7-foot mini with spine was just a treat, dude. We talked a little about basic. The basic guys can bring it back if they wanted to. I just don't know if they have time or feel there's enough draw. Cost of an entry level mountain bike is a joke. I mean, cost of entry level mountain bikes are a lot. There's a lot that goes on in the BMX mountain bike dynamic. I mean, it's BMX has sold itself short on a lot of things and let mountain biking take advantage of a lot of things. But same time, sometimes it's just crazy when you think of the price of an entry level mountain bike, but some dudes are just going to ride dirt jumps or a skate park on them. It's just like, just get a dope BMX complete. But the way things have went in the last 20 years, it's kind of twisted the way people look at getting into bikes. And running a BMX specific shop right now is very hard. I enjoy doing live streams and stuff. Like I'm into this. I like it. But I mean, I think if you're going to have a shop, you're going to have to make it like a niche thing, or it's just going to be one of the big ones. I'm not a big one, so I'm trying to do other things to bring my shop to other people's attention. It's right before Christmas, so we're kind of just winding down for the year. But hopefully, I'll have some new shirts, some new Snakebite shirts here in the new year, some new good shirts, some new hats, and I can show them to you guys on this, and maybe sell some of those and some other things. But I don't think Ed had anything to do with it. I think Ed was just like really good friends with Steve, but maybe he did. But Ed Koning, man, I think you and me, Ben, both are big Ed Koning fans. I remember that first time we went to the old school jam at Woodward and Ed Koning was there. I was hyped. Will you stop growling at me, dog? I will give you attention when you get home. You're not starving. You'll survive. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Ben. I mean, I think BMX, since we've lost magazines and maybe props, and there was a time even, which I didn't think it was that healthy, but when the come up was around, there was a centralized place where everybody gathered, spoke about things, and it felt like it was more communal and people get pointed in the right directions. But now that there isn't that, I feel like it's just like everybody's just kind of wandering around lost and doesn't know where to put their focus or put their money for brands. Dog, stop growling. Come here. Come here. I'll give you love. Come here. You're so needy. Dang, dude. But come here. Come here. Gosh darn it. You are just so spoiled. Base model of a Trek mountain bike is that like a dirt jumper? Like, I'm bad with all that stuff. 600 new. I mean, I know Trek's not doing good though right now. I think a lot of these mountain bike companies are, really close to where GT is. Inopia, yes. We the People is German, and they made some awesome stuff. But I mean, a base model BMX bike is like 400. So, I know when you deal with a high-end mountain bike, the forks alone are like half of what a high-end BMX bike costs. If that company in Canada that resticker standards is still in business, I'll flip. Basic, that's what we were talking about. They're not in business, but the homies are still around. Thank you, Rad Dad. I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much. If you got a question or anything you want me to get going in the chat, just please let me know. A second business draw more. I could see that, yeah, BMX. And I do feel like a lot of shops, I mean, you got to get creative. And sometimes it's hard because you're just like balancing this small amount of money with a small amount of profit. And then like me, I have so many ideas, but sometimes just to get them in action is so hard because I don't have the money to do it at the time. I'm trying to be better with it this year. I'm trying to be more on top of it with stickers and soft goods. But I mean, dude, I always have like good ideas. It's just trying to get them on paper and moving forward while running a shop. Trying to do a side hustle, selling vintage stuff just to keep the shop going. Whew. This is why I have gray hair now. We talked a little, Aaron, about metal. Yeah, I mean, dude, it sucks that metal went out of business. I mean, it sucks. Metal always had such a good vibe and was an awesome brand. Here, my dog is just, I gotta let the dog outside again. I'm just gonna put him out back. Hold on. Come on, Migo. Come on, you're just gonna go out back. I can't have you barking at me. Go. Go on. Get out there. Go. You're gonna be out there. All right, I'm back. I'm back. I think it was one of the metal writers. I forgot which guy it was that brought it back. And I think he started with the blessing of Jimmy. And I think him and Jimmy had some disagreements while it was going on, and they just decided to end it. I didn't talk about Lord, but we did talk about Little Devil. I really don't know much about Lord. I know John from John, if he's still here, I don't think he's here. He was here earlier, but it's pretty late. I think he would know more about it. I just don't know a ton about Lord. I know they started doing some small run stuff again, though. Yeah, we talked about Little Devil and them cranking out. I said they got a bunch of stuff right now. Um, oh, thank you, Dan. I mean, dude, I love having a shop. I mean, next year's gonna be our 20th year. I mean, I I'm gonna keep going. I mean, I told I told my wife, I go, I don't know what's gonna go on next year. So just be prepared. I mean, it could get worse, it could get better, you know. I don't think I'm above being a casualty of a bad bike slash BMX industry, but I'm trying my best. And I think what we're doing here is kind of where shops and certain retail places are going to have to lean towards to bring people in and bring attention to them because there's no magazines, there's no real other ways to do it. So, you know, it's like YouTube. So, this is kind of, you know, we're doing it right now. So, yeah, thank you guys for all being here. I appreciate it. And if anybody needs anything ever, please feel like reaching out to me. Goods BMX. I'll always do my best to help you out. Billy Bob, where are you at? It's 2 a.m. I think you're pretty. So you must be in the UK, I'd assume. Gary Turner Customs uses the same steel manufacturers they used on their trophy trucks. I have an honest room I got from Shadow my bike. Well, good. I'm psyched. Lord, yeah, Lord is UK. I know it was like two brothers that did Lord. I don't know the whole ins and outs of it, so I just don't want to fully talk about it and feel like a ding dong because I don't know the whole history. But you know, Lord was awesome. But I know it was like I mean, dude, the UK has made so many iconic things. Like I keep seeing on Instagram right now because they had like Anarchic Adjustment and they're doing like small runs with like certain shops over there, not BMX shops, but like kind of more boutiques. I'm like, God, I'd kill for one of those newer shirts. And I feel like people are the same about Lord. And, you know, it is good that you can get some Little Devil stuff pretty easy now. And Sterling, okay. What time is it? Oh, shoot, dude. Dang, this has went by fast. I can't believe we've been on here for so long. All right, we got about 10 minutes, so let's finish strong, guys. All the way up until now, I thought Lord was Lordful. No, Lord's a UK company. I know it was two brothers. I think one skated and one rode BMX, and they did a clothing company. You know, especially in the '90s. I mean, if you saw people in the UK, everybody wore Lord, just kind of like everybody over here had Little Devil stuff. So, but there's nothing wrong with thinking Lord Volker should be involved in everything because Volker is the man. He's like one of the nicest dudes and one of the sickest dudes. So, yeah. I mean, I guess next week we'll have more to talk about if there's more BMX stuff, you know. So, like I said, next week's live video, it won't be here at the shop. It might start later at 6. I might just go home, set in my basement because I've been organizing and shuffling around magazines. So I'm gonna look to try to sell some magazines while we're doing that. So if you guys are into vintage ones, jump on that live cast. And I have a few tidbits in the basement. I'll go through some of the vintage T-shirts and jerseys and things I got. I don't have a ton, but I have some cool ones. So that. Yeah, I know Craig never really. I think Craig raced a little when he was younger, but you know, kind of like one of those dudes that raced or got into bikes because his family was into it, but didn't really go that way. So, I mean, I've seen some of those Gary Turner bikes. I mean, it sucks that most of them are just dudes with show bikes that aren't really riding them because they, you know, some of them look pretty good, you know. Right, that GT show though. Well, I mean, cars are for driving. All those old school bikes. I mean, he didn't ride a show. He rode a Volker metal issue, I believe, and then before that he rode a Pro Performer, even though it had the curved top tube. But the dynos that he rode in the early '90s and late '80s and mid '80s probably are all like 19 and a half, 19 3/4 top tube with about a 14.75 rear end. So they were pretty small bikes. I mean, I rode bikes that small, you know. But yeah, Dave's not even a little dude. Dave's almost as tall as I am, and yeah. But you just grew up riding bikes like that. I mean, that's a lot of times you see dudes with a little bit push forward bars because you're just trying to get some extra room. Aaron, thank you, dude. I hope you have a Merry Christmas and hope to chat with you next week. So thank you, buddy. I'll see you later. I think that wall ride ad, he's on a Pro Freestyle tour. I think he was riding a red one. So yeah. I guess I really didn't. I guess I'll just finish this bike later. I appreciate this has probably been our biggest live stream. I mean, it's not like some epic one where people have thousands of people, but I appreciate all you guys coming out and just chatting. If you're like me, the weather's crappy outside, so sometimes it's just fun to have some BMX stuff in your life and just talk about it and hang out with people that are in the same vibe as you. So I appreciate all you guys just coming out and hanging out. I'm going to keep doing these things, so you can just hop on with my bike shop journey with me, and yeah, we'll see if we make it through next year. I'm hoping we do. I'm going to do my best. So, some dude, thank you. Merry Christmas. Hope everything goes good for you. Oh, we're finishing the live stream. Hey. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with straight gauge tubing, though. Vejo BMX poverty parts. I mean, I know some dudes are into that, but I most of those were just parts they bought from bike companies that were going under and restickered. Thank you, Carzer, for driving. Thank you, Hardcore History. Yeah, I mean, it's feeling like winter, so just doing the most to stay active and just be hyped on bikes. I think we're going to see more brands. I think we're going to lose more brands. I totally agree with you, Jizdesh, or sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, but I agree. I think we're going to lose a few more brands and maybe more shops. But I think we'll come out of it healthier at the end. BMX as a whole. I do hope I'm not a casualty, but yeah. Remember my poverty cranks? I believe I've seen a few cranks break hopping off curbs. Oh, summer Christmas. I'm jealous, man. I mean, it was rideable the last few days, but I've just been at work till it's dark. So, well, I know it's like 5 minutes, a little bit earlier, but I got a bunch of stuff I got to clean up before I got to get home. I got to drive my dad a few hours to his kind of ex-girlfriend's for Christmas tomorrow because he's in a wheelchair. So I got a bunch of stuff I got to do. So again, thank you guys for coming out. Joseph, thank you. Merry Christmas to you. Yeah, I'll be back on next Saturday. Like I said, we'll go through the mags while I'm getting some ready to sell. I'll show you guys some cool vintage shirts, and we'll just see how everybody's Christmases went. So thank you guys for all coming out. I appreciate it. Anybody that tipped tonight, I super appreciate you guys tipping. I mean, that blows me away. So thank you. And I love you too, Ben. I'm sure I'll talk to you here around the Christmas time. And the next wave of BMX is approaching, dude. Real quick. Yeah. There's so many kids that are like between 12 and 15 here that are just killing it. I think next year's going to be one of the last hard years. I think we're going to see things turning around after that. So let's just all get through it, keep riding, and keep building our scene. So, yeah. All right, cool, guys. I'm going to end the stream. I'll chat with you guys next week. If anybody has any questions or needs anything, reach out to me at Goods BMX or hit me up at Shad4130 on Insta or the Snakebite Insta. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.